What made your ex bad in bed? She would just lay there and not contribute at all, then she would complain if I didn't do something right. One ex was very aggressive with oral. Like no teeth or anything. But when they say, suck a golf ball through a garden hose, she could definitely do it. I never thought lips and tongue could cause pain, but the worst part is that she loved to do it, which I would usually be pleased with, and I couldn't find a way to explain the problem to her. She didn't take criticism well, so I had to pretend she had turned me on so much that I just needed to slip it in, like right now. No foreplay, rubbed the bean like he was trying to sand a piece of wood, wouldn't take any pointers, never learned how to make out properly in 6 years. Trying to use moves from a porno. They look good, they aren't sexy. The best sex is when you drop your ego, don't perform, and just engage in what feels good. Kissing is also majorly underrated. Hygiene 100. Had no patience for foreplay, lasted very little and didn't like giving head. He just wanted me to starfish while he pumped away in dead silence. Refusing to communicate. There were many times that we would both be disappointed by our sexual experiences, though my reaction was to ask her what we could do different and how we could take different approaches to really enjoy each other's bodies. She would always, and I mean always, dismiss these conversations by saying, as her partner, I should know what she wants and it's hurtful for me to ask her to say her needs outright. She even went as far as to say I was simply bad in bed, something none of my previous partners before her had stated. Instead of getting defensive when this came up, I'd again say I wanted to please her and asked what exactly was I doing that needed improvement, but again, she stated I should just know without having to be told. That relationship was infuriatingly invalidating and soul-crushing, but such a relief when I moved on. Bro didn't even try and find the hole. He just slammed it around, never got it in, and then would ask me if I orgasmed too. Sure buddy. No foreplay and fuck like a jackhammer. He was my first and the experience made me think I was asexual. He never did foreplay, he made me do all the work, he shoved it in dry, he didn't last long, he didn't care if I finished, he kept fucking other women in ours. He was very selfish and seemed to do foreplay just to get it out of the way. When he was done, it was over, even if I was nowhere near. It was the kind of sex only love forgives. We would talk outside of the bedroom about all of the things we could do to make it better for me, but then when the time came, he ignored everything, every time. He would do the things that I told him repeatedly did absolutely nothing for me. He would go down on me in the exact same way every time, even though it never not once got me anywhere near orgasm. When I would mention that I never got off not once in our entire relationship, but that he had an orgasm every time, sometimes multiple, he would say, what about those 3 times? It was 2 occasions, 3 orgasms, all 3 of which were done by my hand. He would tell me how much he helped in those situations. His help made it 10 times harder to get there. Another one of those things I had told him outside of the bedroom that he ignored during sex. She had no interest in sex, so it was a chore for her to put out nothing says, hey, let's have some fun. Like one person basically being completely non-interested and just being a whole. In 6 months I didn't finish one time from him. She was the first person I had ever been with and she was just not a very sexual person. I thought I had a low sex drive, but it turns out we were just super incompatible sexually. Once she broke up with me and I started having sex with other people, my mind was blown. I didn't realize how good it could be. I'm now married to someone I am very compatible with and it's amazing. Turns out he wasn't interested in women. Exactly the same thing every time. Felt like it was just a replay and got very monotonous. Like from initiation, foreplay to finish, all the same. I was always the one pushing for new things, but he would always revert back to his tried and true method. Also initiation was putting his friend on my thigh. So we're laying in bed, I'm drifting off to sleep and feel this thing placed upon my leg. Look at him and he's got a big grin thinking its mere presence means I'm good to go. Really not exciting at all. He was so proud of it. Had to explain just because he decided he was ready and presented it, didn't mean I was happy to see it or feel it. My ex-boyfriend's ex who ended up in our bed. Had shark-looking teeth, liked to bite, had no rhythm, didn't wash his ass, couldn't last more than 30 seconds. She rarely returned the favor, like extremely rarely. Meanwhile I went down on her every time and I was happy to, but it was just like, geez, do you really think this won't become a wedge?